participating in these sessions for the past few years. I think last year or last 2 years, okay, we had this session, a similar session, but felt that because we now have a number of people that were not there at the time, and then maybe a few things have also changed about international student loan. So today we're going to be addressing the issue again. And as usual, I have tried to prepare the presentation in a way that it answers your questions before you ask them. So if any of your questions are not answered during the session, then we will address that during the question and answer session. Arrows, please, I'm getting some feedback, some echo feedback, please help to address that. So welcome once again, everyone. My name is Bosede Edwards and your usual host on this session. So today we are going to be discussing how you can fulfill your study abroad dreams through international student loan. We do know that not everyone can afford the amount that is required for international student education. But of course, everyone, at least everyone that has been part of this program since its inception, somehow have an interest in that. So if it's not affordable out of pocket, then what other options do we have? That's the purpose of this session, to let you know what's available and how you can access such opportunities and some of the things that you need to know when you decide that that is an option that you would love to explore. So before I go into it, just a little bit about Arrows again, just to remind all participants, Arrows Education is an organization that supports the realization of your study abroad dreams. Arrows provide coverage for student placement and student recruitment across 30 countries or 30 plus countries around the world. And Arrows covers more than 2,500 institutions and of course, thousands of courses in various fields. So whichever field you're in, you will be covered somehow. And the coverage also extends from K-12 to PhD. So meaning every level of education, including professional development. And like I always try to remind us, I think Arrows offers one of the most affordable support services around. So you'll be doing yourself a world of good by taking advantage of that. So how does the system work? You can visit the website. Arrows website is on the screen, that first line. There is an application form there on the applications tab. So you complete the form, upload all the required documents and submit. And then you can contact Arrows on WhatsApp and start the conversation. And then when you have been able to make a decision, then you can choose a university based on your preferences when in the course of your discussion with Arrows. And then the application is made for you, you get your offer, your visa is applied for, and then you can travel to your study destination. It's as simple as that. So these are some of the social media handles of Arrows Education. And so there is WhatsApp there if that's your thing. Then you have Facebook there if that's where you feel more comfortable. YouTube, yes, Arrows YouTube has almost every webinar session that we have had recorded. So feel very free to go there and check out some of the videos and see which one answers the questions that you have. And if you still have any question after that, you can always reach out to the office. And when you're there, don't forget to like and share the videos. And then I think TikTok is also there. So if TikTok is your thing, feel very free to go there. All the information is there as well. And then the WhatsApp number is there for live interaction with someone from the office. Please take advantage of that as well. These are the countries covered by Arrows. So whichever one you're interested in, UK, US, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, those are the big ones. And then you have Singapore, Switzerland, Ireland, France, and Italy there. So all of them, more than 30 countries now. So I think we have 30 on this list, but there are, I think, a few others that are not on this list that are also covered. So discuss with the office if you're not sure. And if you're not even sure which country you want to go, you just need some counseling. Yeah, feel very free to reach out to the office as well. And then someone will discuss with you, and based on maybe your budget and your course, the course you're interested in, the kind of program you're interested in, whether it's bachelor's or master's or a PhD, or even a professional development program, someone will be able to talk with you and advise you. So let's go on to talk about student loan. Why do we need student loan? Why should student loan be something that we need to talk about? Of course, like I said at the beginning, the cost of international education is quite high. Not everyone can afford it. Not every family can afford it. Of course, there are families that can, but not many. So if we don't want to lose the many benefits of international education, then student loan might be the way to go. So there are, these are things that are not, they are not strange to most people from different countries, but maybe your country is still something that is new. Yes, then you can actually have an opportunity to understand how it works. And because I remember that a few weeks back, I was having a conversation about this with some persons, and then I understand that people are expressing fear of, oh, how will I be able to pay back? Will I be able to pay back? And if I take the loan, what if I don't find a job? No, it's natural to be afraid when you want to take a loan, especially when you don't know what the future holds. You don't know what the future will say. You don't know what's going to happen in the nearest or farthest future. It's natural to be apprehensive. But then you need to ask yourself a few questions, which we are going to also address here. So what are the different types of student loans that are available? We have the fixed interest type of loan. What it means is that if you borrow at 10%, and you're going to pay back over 10 years, over 15 years, that 10% will not change, even if loan interest or borrowing interest changes. So the interest is fixed. Then we have the variable interest ones, in which case, if you borrow at 10%, then maybe world economy changes and borrowing rate goes down, then your rate goes down. But if it also goes up, your rate goes up. And then we have the types that require you to provide a collateral, or a cosigner, maybe a family member or parent, someone who is going to say, hey, I'm here. If this person doesn't pay, I'm going to pay. So that's the idea of the one that requires collateral. And then we have the no collateral, no cosigner type of loan, which is the one that Arrow is actually promoting. Meaning you don't need anybody to stand in for you. You don't need a cosigner. You don't need to provide maybe your CFO or your house document. No, you don't need any collateral. You don't need any cosigner. So someone is taking a bet on your life and saying, I believe in your future. Let's do this. That's the meaning of this number 4. So which type is ideal? That's a question I think I've had people ask a lot of times. And the answer is there is none that is risk-free. Because one, interest may go up, in which case, if you take a variable interest loan, then your interest increases. And interest may go down. And if you take a variable interest loan, then your interest goes down. And then that's a plus for you. So, but you don't know whether interest will go up or down. So it's very difficult to make a decision. Cosigners are very hard to find. Like, I mean, even for your own child, it's difficult to say, hey, don't worry, I'm ready to go to prison, or I'm going to pay this money back if this person doesn't pay. So who is going to stand in and say, don't worry, you can take my house, you can do this to me if this person doesn't pay? It's very hard for anyone to stand in that way for a loan of, thousands of dollars. Collaterals also require huge investments, which you probably don't have. A house, a house that is worth the amount of loan that you want to take, because usually your collateral has to match or exceed the value of your loan. And then finally, any type of loan, small or big, long-term, short-term, collateral free or with collateral, whatever type is a burden. A loan is a burden because you have to pay back. And until you finish paying back, you don't feel like a free man. So that's the issue. So for me, the right question to ask is not which one is ideal, but whether it is worth, the risk is worth taking for your future or for the future of your family. That's the question you should be asking. Ask yourself, is your life worth the risk of a study loan? If you think so, if you think that your life is important enough for you to attempt taking this risk to better your lot, then you go for it. But if you think that you can't, well, nobody can force you to. Okay, so these are a few things that I feel is very important to note before you step in. The first thing is that loan service providers are not your family, they are not your friends. They are business people. And that is the reason why they are not lending to you at zero interest. They are lending to you with an interest because they want to make profit on their money as well. They can put the money somewhere else. They can put it in any other kind of investment, even some investment that are less risky than you. Because this is one thing that I think it's very important for everyone listening here should note. The loan service provider is taking a risk over you, and I'm telling you, it's a very big risk. It's a very big risk because the loan service provider is assuming that you are not going to die after you have taken the money. And then, because if you die, they can't get anything back. So they are assuming that you are not going to die. They are assuming that your future is bright. They are assuming that when you graduate, you're going to find a job and you're going to pay back their money. It's a very big risk. So they are business people. And if someone is taking that level of risk over your life, I think the least you can do is to also have some confidence in yourself and in your own future. Next issue is you should plan to pay back as soon as possible. Yes, you can have up to 10 years to pay back your loan, but the longer you take to pay back, the more you have to pay. We're going to see that in a moment. So shorten the payment period and pay back as quickly as possible, then you can move on with your life. Because if you don't, in your mind, you are still feeling like a debtor, and then you're not going to feel comfortable. So finish paying back, then you can launch into enjoying your life. So as fast as possible, that's what you should go for. Take only the minimum amount needed. Nobody is going to give you a rule that, oh, you must take this amount. Usually, the loan is able to cover both your tuition and your living expenses for 2 years. Now, let's assume that your tuition is like $10,000 per year. It means that you're going to need $20,000 for 2 years. And then if your living expenses is about $5,000 per year, or let's say another $10,000 per year, that would be 20 for 2 years. So meaning you're going to need about $40,000. You can decide to take a $40,000 loan, or you can decide to take 20 or 30,000 and plan to, limit your life and your expenses, your spending within your, I would say, a very limited amount. Just live small for that period. Then after that, you can live big if you want to live big or live large. So it depends on you. So take the minimum amount needed. And then also you should know that you can decline if you get funding. You can decline. So let's assume that you have applied for the loan, and then you applied for $50,000 loan, and then after you got the approval, and then you resumed, and then you got a scholarship or some kind of funding, or someone decides to help you, or you inherited some huge amount of money, and then you don't have to take the remaining loan. It's not compulsory. Every year, the loan, you will need to reapply for the loan. Even though it has been granted, you will still need to apply the second year for the remaining balance. So if you don't need it again, you don't have to take it. Okay, so I've already mentioned that the type of loans promoted by AROS is the no collateral, no cosigner one. It's flexible, you can refinance it. But you should also know that credit score is a consideration actually. But credit score in the sense of, depending on where you come from, it's how you have managed your finances. Have you been borrowing money from maybe a cooperative society or from a bank and you are not paying back? Or did you open a bank account and it went into dormancy and then you didn't do anything about it and they have removed all the money that you have in the bank account until there is nothing there and they continue to remove bank charges? Now you are in the negative. That is going to speak negatively for your credit score. So you have to work at that. So this, what the takeaway from here is, if you have bank accounts that you have not been managing well, please go ahead and do the needful now. Close them. Close the bank accounts, and if you are owing, pay whatever you are owing and clear that, so that when eventually, because information that you think is not in the public space is actually there. Okay, so for the loans that AROS is promoting, they are for studying in the USA and Canada. There are only very limited ones for studying in the UK. Who is eligible? Of course, you have to be an international student, and you must be studying an approved course and studying in an approved institution. Sorry, I think that's an error there. You must be willing to study in the USA or Canada. The funds are only applicable for 2 years. So if you are doing a bachelor's program, it means you can only use it for the last 2 years of your bachelor's program. And if you are, but it can cover for full master's program and PhD study. So what's the process like? Of course, you need to make an application. Then when your application is approved, a loan letter will be issued to you, and then certification will be done by your institution. That will be after you resume for your study, and then the loan will be disbursed, and then you start to pay simple interest during the time of your study. Then when you graduate, you start to pay your the principal part of the loan. Okay, so what are some other features of the loan? Here, you don't need to make any upfront payment. It builds your credit history, so it's very good for you also for the future. The interest rate is fixed. It's between 13 to 15%, depending on what program you are studying. I have already mentioned about the monthly simple interest repayment. The repayment term is up to 10 years, but you are free to pay back in 1 year. And then the moratorium, you get a 6-month moratorium after your graduation before you start paying. Before you'll be required to start paying back, meaning that the loan service provider assumes that, okay, you graduated in December, so you will be given January to June to find a job. Then you can start paying back. Okay, so these are the application documents that you need. You need an offer letter from an eligible institution. So we cannot even begin to talk about the loan until you have an offer. So you need an offer letter. You should be at least 18 years of age. You need your international passport, and you're going to need a second photo ID, like your NIN or your driver's license, your IC. Those are all documents that you can use as a second ID. And then you need your certificates and transcripts, and then your list of your study expenses, which will come together with your offer letter. It will be listed in your offer letter. Then your resume or your CV will be required. That will also be able to provide some employment history. But if you are asked to provide maybe a documentation to prove your employment history, you may need to provide your offer letter for employment or your promotion letter. Sometimes you may be required to provide a GRE score depending on what program you are going for, and your English test scores as well. And then your proof of fund may be required, especially if you are going to study in Canada, where the loan only covers your tuition. It doesn't cover your living expense. And then also, I've been asked before, you got approval for a loan to study. It is only for you to study. It doesn't cover your family. So if you are going to be traveling with your family, you need to provide proof of fund to cover your family. So and that has to be provided by you. And then you need to provide references. I think usually 2 or 3 references who have to be family or friends. So how much are you going to get for this loan? Maximum is $100,000. It will be disbursed at $50,000 per year for the 2 years of your study. And in the second year, like I've mentioned, you need to make a fresh application for the second part of the loan. If you don't have to need up to 50,000, you could ask for 30, 20, 10, 5, depends on what your needs are. So any restriction, yes, there are a few restrictions. Like I've mentioned, the loan is applicable only in the US and Canada. And of course, it covers about 400 institutions in these 2 countries. And the loan is only applicable to STEM courses and some business courses. So you want to study in the science, in computing, business analytics, business analysis, business administration, and some of those, they are covered by the loan. But if you say, for example, you want to study education, it's not covered. So you have to be in the STEM field or in the business field. So what does the loan cover? It covers your tuition and living expenses in the US, tuition only in Canada. So meaning that you have to provide proof of fund for your living expenses in Canada if you're going to be studying in Canada. Okay, so these are the things you cannot use the loan for. It's not going to cover your flight ticket. You have to provide for that. It's not going to cover your family expenses or other travel costs. It's not going to cover the pre-admission processes. No, it's not going to cover all of that. You are going to have to take care of those ones. Okay, what are the factors that affect your chances of approval? The risk level, yes. Like I mentioned, I have up to $100,000. $100,000 is a lot, especially if something goes wrong. So if you are asking for $100,000 loan and someone is asking for, say, $30,000 or $40,000, the risk level is different. So the risk level is part of what the service provider will consider to see whether it is worth taking. And then if they feel that, yes, you're worth it, then you will get it. So the amount you are requesting for also falls with that. And then your financial history, like I've mentioned, how you have handled your finances, that may affect your chances of approval. And then you may have documentation problem. Maybe we've had cases where people names on their documents did not match each other. The names on their passport is different from the names on their other documents. Things like that can also cause a lot of issues. So you need to watch out for them. Yes, you can use the loan as proof of fund for your application in the US or for your visa. And then visa support letter is provided usually when you want to use it to apply for visa. And the validity of the letter you get is actually 6 months. So after 6 months, if you don't use it, you're going to need to request for the issuance of another one. Okay, so when will you get the money? After your arrival at your study destination. So nobody is going to give you the money while you are still at home. Yeah, you may decide that you don't want to go again and then you take the money. And because the money is actually not going to be disbursed to you, it's disbursed to your institution. So let's assume you're going to be studying at ABC University in New York. Then when you arrive in New York and you report to your institution, oh, I have arrived, I am an international student from ABC country, then I have this letter of loan from this organization, you give to them, and then they will confirm oh yes, we have received this update from the organization. And then the organization will pay the loan to your university. When it is paid to them, the university will remove your tuition and pay the living expense to your own account. Then you can live on that. That is if you are applying for both tuition and living expense. Can I still work and study if I take the loan? Yes, you can still do your 20 hours during the session and 40 hours during breaks. That is why you are expected to start paying the simple interest while you are still studying. So you still have the opportunity to continue to work. Okay, the rate, interest rate, you have the 13 to 15%. Like I said, if you are an undergraduate student, your case will be between 14.75 or 15.01, one of the two. And then the postgraduate will be about 13.98 or 13.72. So there is a discount that usually is applied. I can't remember what exactly the basis is, but if you get the discount, then you get the lower rate. So that means if you get the discount as an undergraduate, you pay 14.75% instead of 15.01 and 13.98 for postgraduate instead of, 13.72 instead of 13.98. Okay, so when do I need to pay back the loan? I've mentioned this over and over. You have to be paying back a simple interest during the course of your study, and then you pay back the full loan. You start to pay back 6 months after graduation. But mind you, within this period, interest is accruing. So I will come to you, Kingsley Nicholas, I'll come to you. So you can also put your question in the chat box, then we will address it. Okay, so just to make things easier, okay, this is the repayment schedule. I don't want to dwell so much on this. So how much will you be paying back? So what I have decided is I would like you to take a look by yourself. So I'm assuming that everyone has their phone. So if you have your phone with you, please put on your QR scanner and let's do some arithmetic. So what Arrows has done is Arrows has built a simple system where you can calculate how much you are going to be paying back during your study and how much you are going to need to be paying back after your study. So what you will need to do now is scan this QR code, and then it will take you to that platform where you can do the calculation. So I would like you to try by yourself. I'm also going to try here. So let's assume that you want to take a loan of 10,000 or 5,000 or 20,000. Just put any amount that you are interested in, just to check. Put any amount there and then see how much you need to pay. And you will have to choose how many years you want to pay back. So that will also help you to be able to see that if you pay back within a short time, what does it turn out with for you? And if you pay back over a very long period of time, what's the implication for you? So I want us to just do this short exercise right away. So if you're having any problem, you let me know. Trying to find my own QR scanner as well. Okay. So if anyone has tried, please give us some feedback. Tell us how much you put for the loan, how many years of repayment, and what did you get for payment during study and after study.
Good morning.
Let me have some feedback, please. Is the code working?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. This is Kingsley Nicholas here. I put in 20,000. I'm assuming around 12,000 is my 12 to 15,000 is my tuition fee,
Okay.
and then the remaining for my expenses.
Okay.
So I put a study period of 2 years looking at
Okay.
masters,
Okay.
and then the payment period of 3 years.
3 years.
With the
Okay.
first use
Okay.
3 years, and then the monthly interest while studying is 249,
Okay.
approximately $250 per
Okay.
month while studying. Then after studying, monthly payment is almost $700, which is $693
Okay.
after payment.
609.
Final,
Okay.
final monthly payment is $720.
Okay, so everything is still under $1,000. Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. So I think I wanted us to do that so that it can give us an idea of what we should be looking at. Because sometimes when you just talk about loan, oh, you have to pay back or you have to take this, it may feel very scary. But when you look at it and you're able to see clearly the idea of what you are getting into, it can help you and it can give you some level of confidence that this is not as bad as it sounds. That's why I wanted us to do this. Thank you very much, Kingsley Nicholas. So this is moving on from there. I'll still come back to what we had there. How can I be sure I can afford the repayment? We can hear what he shared with us, $20,000 loan, and he needs to pay back about $200 while, sorry, $250 while studying, and after graduation, about $700 every month for 3 years. That doesn't sound like something that can kill anyone. So now you need to know that to be, if you're asking the question, how can I be sure I'll be able to afford the repayment? One thing that the loan service providers have done is that one, they are very selective in loan approvers. If they think that you will likely have issues with paying back, they may not approve your loan. And that is why they are focused on professions that are in high demand in the countries where you want to study. Because if your profession is not in high demand, what it means is that you may graduate and you may not be able to find a job. So their focus is on, that's why they are focusing on STEM and business courses, because they are in very high demand in Canada and US. Okay, so certain professions can actually access more than 2-year loans because they believe in them. For example, if you are studying, I think, medical science or medicine, for example, you can get more than 2 years. Those that are studying for their PhDs can get more than 2 years. So they know what they are doing because remember, they are business people as well. Then when you compare the average income of different professions, then that can also give you an idea of whether you'll be able to pay back or not. So to make that easy, I have done this to show us. So this is average in the US for people in healthcare professions, especially for surgeons and psychiatrists, about $20,000 per month. And for nurse practitioners or physician assistants, they earn about 10,000 plus per month. If you are in the IT, something between $10,000 and $14,000 per month. If you are in the business field, between 9,000 and 13,000, and others like medical and health managers, data scientists. Data scientists, that value there is annual. It's not monthly, sorry. And then for AI engineers, it varies, but it's generally high. But if you are going to be a researcher, yeah, I think that's the lowest that we have there, unfortunately for us. So this is the idea. Now let's think about you now. Let's assume you took a $20,000 loan to study. Let's say you are in the business field. So you took a $20,000 loan to do your master's. If you graduate, let's say you are a project manager or a financial manager or a business analyst, and then let's not even go too far. Let's take the lower end. Let's assume that you are earning about 7,000 per month. 7,000 per month, will it be impossible to pay back $700 loan? Let's even assume that you didn't get a good job. The job you got is like that of a researcher, and then you are earning about $5,000 per month. Will it be impossible to pay back $700? While you are studying, don't forget you are paying back about $250. $250 means that you need to work about, let's say, how many hours? Let's assume that you are being paid, because for a master's student, you are earning about $15 per hour on average. So someone can please help me. $15 on average. How many hours do you need to work to earn $250? So let's do that arithmetic as well. $250 over, if you are earning 15, that means you need to work 16 hours. So 16 hours of your work we pay back. Don't forget that you have already taken a loan to cover your living expense. So you don't need this job to cover your living expense. Now, if we go back to what I said earlier, take only the minimum that you need. What it means is that you can decide to take just a loan for your tuition instead of taking for both tuition and living expense. But of course, I understand that for many people, they can't even raise the proof of fund for their living expense. And that might be the reason why you want to take both. But then, so if you're taking both, that's okay. But what it means is that whatever job you do while you are studying, then you can use it to pay back your interest, your simple interest. You shouldn't have any problem paying back because you have 20 hours per week to work. And in a whole month, you can work for 20 times 4 possible. So, and you need only 16 hours of work to pay back your simple interest. So that's not something that is killing. So you can do it. That's what that means. And you'll be surprised. Okay, so this is my encouragement to you. You will be fine. Please help us to mute yourself. Thank you. So you are going to be fine. You will be fine. If you take a loan to cover your study, you will be. Okay, so I believe you can hear me again now. So you'll be fine. I thought I will show you some funny information that is also available regarding student loans. So I'm going to get to that in a moment, but some of the common challenges that you should note also as you think about the repayment, because that's the most important aspect. Interest accrues from day one. From the moment the money is paid to your institution, your interest starts to build up. And this interest compounds. So if you're supposed to pay back in, say you're supposed to pay back this month and you didn't pay, the one that you didn't pay this month becomes part of the principal. And then you're going to pay interest on that interest as well. So at the end of the day, what you're going to be paying back is far more than the principal amount. I want you to have a clear picture of what's going on. So I'm not going to tell you that, oh, there's no big deal. No, there is a big deal if you are not serious and if you don't plan well. So if you pay down your loan, it will be in a very difficult situation. You pay interest on interest and your interest becomes the principal. So if you have very poor repayment planning, you will get into trouble even before you start to pay back. You're already going to be in a very, very big mess. But if you plan well, you will be okay. So there are a few useful statistics, like I mentioned, that I want to show to us so that you see. It's very funny that it was found that students who take higher loans have more they pay back more than those who take smaller loans. So you can see on the screen some of the statistics. Students who took loans between 1,000 and 5,000, 34% of them default. Those from 5,000 to 10,000, about almost 30% of them default on the loan. But look at those who take up to 100,000 and those who take even more than 100,000. The percentage is lower, which is very funny. And one of the reasons that was found for this is that those who left, many of these people who take very small loans, they either don't finish their program, or they are kicked out of the program, or they drop out somehow, they didn't finish their programs. So that is one of these are part of the statistics that the loan service provider will consider in evaluating your loan application. So when you are applying, you should also factor this into your application. So these are some of the top reasons for dropping out of college, dropping out of university. Of course, I didn't fit in well, or I felt they are discriminating against me. My family didn't support me. I thought my uncle was going to pay and he decided not to pay. Maybe you were sick, or you were having an emotional issue or family problem. So people like that also, about 3% of them. You're studying in a country that is far away from home and you are homesick, yes. Or of course, 28%, that's quite high. They don't, those are the people who made a mess of their academics and had to go back home. So those are all reasons that people drop out of school. So finally, we are getting to the end. So how does Arrow help? Yes, Arrow helps you with, every step of the way. So they provide initial free evaluation for you. The Arrows will get your offer letter, help you with loan application, help you with visa processing, and every other thing in between. So yes, that's the answer. How much is the fee to help with the process? 0. You don't have to pay anything as long as Arrows is the one processing your admission. Whatever you pay for service fee for your admission processing also covers your loan application. So you don't have to pay anything else. But if your your admission application is not being processed by Arrows, then you are going to have that discussion with Arrows for them to tell you how much you need to pay for them to help you with loan application. So here's a disclaimer that I've been advised to put out there. Arrows is not the one providing the loan. Arrows is the middleman between that is helping you at 0 cost to get the loan to support your education, because it is to the benefit of Arrows if you go to study as well. So Arrows is not involved with the loan disbursement or repayment. Everything is on you, and it's between you and the loan service provider. And Arrows is not going to be a guarantor or a cosigner for any student loan. Arrows does not provide the reference for the purposes of loan application. I also don't provide the reference, and the responsibility of the loan is 100% on you. Remember, no cosigner, no collateral, so not even your parent or your uncle or auntie will be bothered about this. This is on you. This is your future, and you have to take care of it. So thank you very much for listening. And now we have come to the question and answer session. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and please feel very free to put on your cameras, and you can also put on your mics so that if you have any question, you can ask. So any question on the loan, anything that is not clear that you would like to need to address? Feel very free. You can use the raise hand function, or you can type your question in the chat box.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, sir.
Good. This is Abiola Olatunde speaking.
Okay, thank you very much for joining.
Thanks for the expository seminar.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I want to, in respect to the loan service. I'm an educationist.
Okay.
An educationist. How do you assist in that? And I really appreciate you with the way you've exposed us to a lot of things in respect to the loan. From all education, I won't have a problem if it is US that I'm going to, because by God's grace, I have a ready-made job that I can do there. I have a friend that has a company that I can work with. All I need is to get into the country. So I don't know, but my challenge is securing my admission and getting there.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the easiest part of this whole journey is securing admission. Because, yeah, securing admission is the easiest part of the whole thing. All you need to do is go on to arrowstransactions.com and go to the admissions tab. There is a form there. Arrows, please put the link. Help us to put the link in the chat box. So you just see a form there, fill the form, upload your documents, and Arrows will process your admission. But I should also clarify something here, because usually international students, I'm not sure what program you want to study when you go to the US.
Counseling psychology.
No, I mean, is it a bachelor's program, a master's program, or a PhD program?
Master's
Okay.
program.
If it's a master's program, I think you have an option of working, I think, outside the campus. Undergraduates are not allowed to work outside the campus. So if you have the option of working outside the campus, yes, that would be a lot of help if your friend is willing to take you on. Yeah. So no problem with that. So admission, not a problem at all. So please reach out to, then use the WhatsApp number of Arrows. Just put in a chat there. This is you. This is what you are interested in. And then from there, the journey can start even right now. I'm sure there is someone there right now that can attend to you. Okay. So, did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Kingsley Nicholas, I can see your hand up. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the enlightenment. It was really, eye-opening for me. So I have a few questions. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
So I actually have a preference of studying in the UK. That's my first question. I want to know the programs and schools, the limited programs and schools that are available for UK, because you mentioned something that there are limited options there. So I want to know the limited options for UK.
Okay.
The reason is because of I feel it's easier to get visa approved, get admission approved in UK than in US and Canada. So the other question is, they said the loan is subject to my gaining an admission, meaning that if I gain an admission is when the loan, whether or not it's approved, I will know it will be disbursed to me. But the application process for schools, I think most of it requires some financial commitments, some requirements that are like proof of funds, tuition fee deposit, and all of those things. I don't know, how do I move forward if I'm relying on the loan to apply for school, like if I'm relying on a loan to pay my tuition and everything. But then at some point in my admission, especially I think conditional or unconditional admission, I'll be required to provide proof of funds for things. And I don't know if it's Arrows that is going to cover that part of things with the school.
I'm sure Arrows doesn't cover. Okay, thank you very much. Let me start with
one last question. The admission window, in this whole thing, can it be applicable for June, July, and August, September, for 2025? That's the last question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, you can still try for June. No, you can't try for June again. June is too close because you need time to process, get the offer, and you need time for visa processing. Visa processing is the thing that nobody can give any guarantee, because it's the prerogative of the visa issuing officer. So you need some time. So it's always safer to, put some time for that. So I think you can still catch up with August admission from now. August, September, yes, you can still meet up with that. There's still some time if you start immediately. Secondly, usually for UK, like I mentioned, I think at the beginning of my presentation, that UK, we only have, I think, scholarship in just one institution or so in the UK. If you speak with Arrow's office, they'll be able to confirm that. Most of the funding that is available in terms of loan is for US and Canada. And it is in US that you need to provide a proof of fund before you apply for admission. Yes, and I think there is a way they also work around that. So you discuss with Arrows on that. Usually for Canada, you only need to provide proof of fund when you are ready to apply for visa. It's only for visa. They don't need proof of fund for admission purposes. So just go ahead, discuss with Arrows on whether, because now you said you are interested in the UK. So if you are interested in the UK, then I doubt that you will be able to apply a loan in the UK. The loans are mostly applicable in US and Canada.
That UK is just a preference. I'm open to anything else.
Oh, okay. Then so just go ahead and discuss with Arrows. +601-121-748-309. That's the WhatsApp number. So you can just go ahead and you can start the chat right away. Okay, Pastor Ladimeji, please go ahead. I can see your hand up. Okay, looks like it's no more there. Any other question? Anyone say have any question?
Oh, all right, ma.
Okay.
Right on, ma.
You're welcome.
Yes. Now, in respect to the application, you said should be done. What is the cost implication on my part for
Which
doing
one?
that for me? The application that I just talked about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think Arrow's charges is $500, which you can pay. I think you are allowed to take advantage of scheduled payment, as in you can pay a little part now, and then you can pay the rest later. So if you discuss with the office boy, I know it's $500, everything.
All right, ma. Yes. Sorry, ma.
It's okay.
My wife applied
Okay.
for this fall.
Okay.
So the application we did is based on getting a graduate assistance. And we realized the error we made is by applying for PhD. Why? Because our research experience is not enough. So we relied on the academic background performance. We thought that would do enough. She has GRE, with high scores in GRE. She has a strong 2-1. So
But
we relied on.
no, a very request
Hello,
and you didn't answer.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
So, yes, go ahead, please. I can hear you.
Yes. So, but in the course of the admission, we were that skeptical that when we saw the requirements for PhD in terms of publications, publications, attending seminars, we knew in ourselves that this might be an hindrance for her. But at the end of the day, to cut a long story short, just day before yesterday, the 3 institutions we applied to, she was denied of admission.
Okay.
And one of these institutions had given her admission 2 years ago for masters.
Okay.
Yeah, but we now realized that it's probably because if we had gone for masters, we would have had an hedge. So my question is, can we still reapply now?
Yes.
Since you said that
yes.
the window is still.
You mean to the same institution? that gave her
Yes,
admission 2 years ago? Or just
the one
to,
that gave her 2 years ago, the one that gave her admission 2 years ago, we
okay.
reapplied, though we went for PhD instead of the masters. She applied for them.
Okay, so the challenge here is the qualification for PhD. Are we talking about the US?
US, man.
Okay, so because US usually, actually generally for a PhD program, you are expected to have some experience with research. So at least you have attended a few conferences, academic conferences, you have published a few papers in some recognized journals, because even when you get over there, you are still going to spend a whole year learning research methodology. So what they want to see is that you are not new to research. And when your CV does not show that, it's going to be very difficult to find a professor that will agree to be your supervisor. So that might be the challenge that she faced. And there may be also the way you package the application. Was she able to find a supervisor? Did she apply with a supervisor that has already agreed to supervise her? If not, that's also going to be a major problem. So the easiest way is, like you said, go for a master's. Let her go for a master's, but in the same field, and then she can go for a master's program that is research-based.
Yes. Yes.
Or a mixed mode master's program. That mixed mode will be easier because if she goes for a research-based master's, it's still an MPhil. An MPhil and a PhD are not too far from each other. You can actually cross from one to the other. So it's safer if she goes for a mixed mode master's program so that she's going to have a balanced research and thought program portfolio. And then that will give her the opportunity to amass enough research credit to apply for a PhD when she's done with that. So that's also workable. That's very workable. And then she will also not be required to provide a supervisor if she goes for a mixed mode program.
Hello, ma.
Thank you very much.
Hello, ma. Welcome, ma.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you, ma. Go ahead, please.
Yes, ma, because I put a question in chat box. I'm not sure whether you saw it or not, but I think I can answer that question now. Well done, ma. Thanks so much for the presentation and the high opening, whatever. My question, however, is that, like I put there, that does age has anything doing with securing admission at USC? That's number one. Then, secondly, last year, I got an offer for an exchange program at USA, but was denied visa twice. But later, when I was discussing with one of us that are scaled through, he told me that he secured an admission and got the offer at the same time. That why don't I try that route this year? So that's why I'm asking that how do we go about that? Securing admission, processing the exchange program at the same time. How do we go about the two? Is it possible, ma?
Okay, so the issue here is if you process admission and you get an offer, when you go out there, when you apply for visa, you are going to be applying for visa to go and study. So if you now have an offer by the side for a job or for an exchange program, the best that you can do is after you get the offer for your student offer, your student visa offer, if it's approved, then you travel. When you get over there, then you will now get a lawyer to help you to change your visa from student visa to work visa, because you're going to need to change your visa to be able to convert to work, because the visa you are going with only allows you to study. So if you want to work, you are going to need a change of that visa. That's one way.
F1, J1, all right.
Secondly, on the issue of age, generally, it is only Canada that we specify. They are very open about their policies regarding age. If you are over a certain age, they won't give you offer even for they will deny you visa for bachelor's program. At certain age, visa, they will deny for master's and like that. But for PhD, usually it's a program that you can do at any time, even as a senior person. But I think one other way of looking at it is offer of admission is not always the problem. Visa is usually the problem. So the challenge here, let's say I am already 60 years and then I'm applying for a program to study maybe for 3 or 4 years in the country. So by the time I'm finishing my program, I'm 64. Now, how many years do I have until retirement? That might become a factor that the visa officer may choose to consider in approving or disapproving my visa application. But that does not mean that it will not be approved. It's only that it may become a basis for them to consider. So if the visa officer is someone who wants to be sensitive to such things, he can decide to look at it and say, oh, so what are you going to do with this? But it also depends on how you are able to package your statement of purpose. If you're able to package your statement of purpose properly to cover you and what you intend to do after graduation, then it becomes easy. Then you can cover yourself because you're already aware that you have a disadvantage on the basis of age. So that's what you're going to address in your statement of purpose, and that will make your application much easier. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you have really tried. Thank you, ma.
Thanks
so much.
You're welcome. I'm seeing another hand up, Dixon. Please, if you are still there, you can
Thank you, madam. Thank you for the opportunity. Can you hear me at the moment?
Yes, we can hear you.
Lovely. Well, lovely presentation there, and it's very, it's well detailed. I just have one quick one for you. Okay, as regards your organization, right? So practically, your organization is just into education, right?
You're right.
And on the second hand, are you the same organization linking or working hand in hand with the loan agencies in North America?
Yes.
Or this is just you just talking about them, opening a window for people to actually work with them, or you are just like a reference, like a partner with those institutions?
Arrows is a partner to the loan service provider.
Lovely.
So loan service providers work with various organizations that are into student recruitment because they know that students eventually will need loans, or at least some students will need loans. So we work directly with the service provider.
Lovely.
That's why we do not charge any service charge for loan service, because we already had a charge for admission purposes. So if our students need loan, then it's automatically, we just go ahead and do that for them.
Lovely. So just for clarification.
Okay.
So applicants need to, the first step to be your candidates, right?
Yes.
Lovely. Then once they are your candidate, then once they get the admission, admissions are literally submitting documents, qualifying and getting admission.
Yes.
So once that one is sorted out through your organization, then automatically this loan criteria comes in automatically by default, right?
Yes, one more thing that I should add there is that it is not every university that has an agreement with the loan service providers. So
Yes.
loans can only be accessed in the universities that are covered. So when we have students and they tell us from the onset, I am going to need a loan for this program, then we make sure that their applications for admissions are made to institutions where loans are available for them to access.
Lovely. That makes a lot of sense. And now we're talking about not in US only. You also have that privilege in Canadian schools. Is that correct?
US and Canada, yes.
Lovely. Now, As we all know, that the internet is very, very vast. There are so many agencies providing loans to individuals, international candidates in North America, precisely. Okay, and basically they work around Canada and US. What are the best solution that your organization has put in place with these agencies to make them competitive? Because as we speak, I was going through the interest rates, okay, and I saw those numbers. Those numbers are not very competitive in the Northern American market. So what is your organization doing precisely to make sure that your interest rate, because end of the day, taking money seems to be very easy, paying back is never easy. Okay. I just want us to be very realistic. And I love the way you presented everything. You were very straightforward, straight to point. So for many people who doesn't really know, to take the money is very easy, but end of the day, the accumulation of paying those things back. And I love the fact that there's an option for people to start paying, because the earlier you pay them, the better for your life and for your state of mind. So what is your organization doing precisely in order to be competitive in that market, talking about the interest rate?
Okay, thank you very much. I would say there is very little that anyone can do because the interest rates are fixed. So we don't really have much to do to say we can change the interest rate. The interest rates are standard, which I presented. They are already fixed there. And so if you go for these organizations, that's what you get. Usually the challenge that, because these are private service providers, there are also government services that provide loans, but those are very difficult for international students to access.
Absolutely.
Yes. So that's why we go for the those that we know, okay, they are willing to take on international students. And for them, they are private providers, so their rates are a little higher, but there is, I mean, the opportunity is good for international students. That's the way we look at it. It's like having someone support you to fulfill your dream at zero cost. I mean, they don't know you. They don't, like I mentioned, they're taking a gamble on your life, taking a gamble with their money and hoping that, okay, you are not going to die before you pay back the money. You're not going to run away, all of that. Because
well, basically, we know how those things work. It's not really like a full gamble because every loan is being insured. Okay, so you know, I'm a financial expert, right? So I know how those procedures work. They're not just throwing the money away, no, because every money they are giving out is being insured. So even if the person, whichever way, we know how those procedures work. But if someone comes through your organization, what is the certainty of them getting that loan through your own guidance?
Okay, so what I can say for that is, based on the cases that we have handled, usually if you don't have any issue financially and you are within the covered professions, you are almost guaranteed, like I'll say 95%.
Lovely. And can we get the list of those sponsored, like, you know, professions?
Yeah, any STEM field. STEM fields generally, science, engineering, mathematics, technology, and if you want to do anything in the business field, business analytics, business analysis, design, so all of those.
Okay,
usually
well,
they don't cover the humanities and social sciences.
they don't cover that, right?
No.
Okay, okay. But they have a list of specific here because, you know, when we talk about business interwovens. So we have business in humanity, we have business analytics in science, right?
That's why I mentioned business analytics specifically.
Exactly. So basically people are going for business management, business development, or designs, which is also humanity. That means they do not qualify for that part.
No.
Okay. All right. Thanks a million.
You're
welcome.
That
is all.
Thank you very much. So Sandra's iPhone, I can see that hand up. Please go ahead. You can unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, madam.
Good evening.
Yeah, Sandra, your friend.
Oh, Happy New Year.
Thank you, ma. So, based on the things you have said concerning the loan, like my two children that went through arrows to US, can they be covered because they are running a bachelor's degree? And you said, if I'm not mistaken, that they can get from 2 years of their after the
Yes,
second year. So,
the
are they
last
qualified?
2 years of their program, yes, they can apply for loan.
So my kids, are they qualified? Because I don't know if their school is recognized by the loan givers.
Their school is not covered,
Ah,
except if they want to transfer to a school that is covered, then that can be done.
okay. So for the Canada own, if the loan is approved, would the students okay, you said for fresh students it's not applicable, like a
So it's
new.
not applicable for undergraduates if they are fresh, because that means 4 years.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, any other question? Please, you can unmute yourself if you still have a question and go ahead with it.
All right, ma.
Hello, ma.
Okay, go ahead.
I have to actually come back through my wife. My service provider
Okay.
is trying to mess up.
It's okay.
Now, I was trying to ask, how do I listen to this all over again, since there wasn't an opportunity to listen to the message? Then
The session is live streamed to Facebook and to YouTube. So I will ask, Rose, can you please put the link? Put the link in the chat box so anyone can access it. So the
great.
link will be
Thank you, ma.
available so it can be accessed.
So if we are going for the US stuff, do we need to still run 6 months account statement?
It depends on your plan, because your proof of fund is supposed to cover living expenses as well as tuition. So if you are going to be applying for loan to cover your tuition, you need to still have proof of fund for the living expense. But if you are going to be applying for maybe the two, then you probably don't need that. But for Nigerians, we usually advise it increases your visa approval chances. Have some amount. You can apply for loan to cover everything, but still have proof of fund to show that at least you still have some fund. It increases your visa approval chances, yes.
If for 6 months?
I think US is 4 months, if I'm not mistaken. 3 months of, Canada is 4 months, US is 3 months, 3 months.
Okay. Then that should cover the living expenses and the tuition.
That is for US. Yes, US will cover living expenses and tuition. I mean, loan in the US will cover living expenses and tuition, but in Canada, it covers only tuition.
So with 5 million in such an account is okay?
5 million will be, how much would that be in US dollars? We need to know that.
I may not be able to put that right now.
So I will say, if you are going to be applying for loan to cover everything, then maybe with 10,000 US dollars, you should be okay. Proof of fund.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you very much. I think there was someone that was, yes, go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, I still want to ask the question I asked earlier, because these schools I'm talking about now, they've the deadline for admission for fall is already over.
Oh, so that means you have to go for next year.
Yeah, yes, that is what I'm for next year. Then I want to ask again, do you have schools?
Must it be that institution? Do you have a particular preference for that institution?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I have preference for institutions in Canada. Sorry, in California.
Okay.
In California.
Okay.
Yes,
Is there a particular place in California?
Los Angeles.
Any part? Okay, Los Angeles. Okay.
Because of that, my friend I told you of earlier.
Okay.
He
Yeah, I
has a ready-made
understand.
job. He's in Los Angeles.
Okay. I understand. Okay, so in that case, I'm sure we have a number of institutions in Los Angeles. So I'll say just send a message to Arrow's WhatsApp and let's start the conversation right away. Yeah.
All right.
We might be able
Thank
to
you.
find an institution that maybe they're just in the final stages of closing admission for fall. It's possible. So let them check. So there's a way they can search the system and they will be able to know if we can still have any institution that is open for now. Sometimes they have the number of maybe their slots covered, but then maybe somebody dropped out or somebody chooses to withdraw their application, so they may have and hanging a few spots. So let's discuss with the office, and then that will we'll be able to clarify that.
Thank you.
No other question. I will say thank you.
Oh, no, man, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So I'm back. I wanted to ask that if your partner institutions, are these the only institutions that we are eligible to apply for in terms of getting loans?
Not exactly.
Our chances are higher with them.
One of the reasons why we prefer the institutions that we have a partnership with is because, one, it's very easy for us to interface with them. We already have an officer from that institution that we can directly interact with. And then, of course, as an organization, there is a benefit for us working with that institution, which makes our service cheaper for the candidate. So, but if a candidate chooses that they want to go to an institution that we don't have a relationship with, then the service charge will be higher. That's
okay. These partner institutions, are they reputable? And then in terms of outside school employment ability, do you think these partners of yours are reputable? They are known and all of that?
They are very well known. I think if you mention most of the top universities that you can mention in these two countries and even in the UK, yes, they are all covered. It's just that there are about 2,000 institutions, so it's very impossible for me to make a list. So I would say the particular institution that you are interested in, actually, it may be covered. So you just maybe let us know which institution you are particularly interested in. Then we can check.
Okay, so do you have institutions that accept HND for masters?
Sorry, no. Most institutions don't. You will need to do a postgraduate diploma or a postgraduate certificate program before you can cross to a master's program.
Postgraduate certificate program in Nigeria?
You can do postgraduate diploma in Nigeria, then, or you can go and do a postgraduate diploma or certificate in the country that you are interested in.
Will the loan cover that, so?
That would be very challenging, but they do cover. They used to cover before, but I'm not sure if they still cover that now. Because the challenge is if you go to do a postgraduate diploma program, usually people use those programs as a bridge for master's program, and you are expected to graduate and start paying back. So now if you have a plan of going for a master's program after you finish this one, then it will be challenging. But in Canada, we have programs that are postgraduate certificate and diploma that are integrated with a master's program. So it is taken as, it's like a single program. So you just do the postgraduate diploma and then you cross on to continue with the master's program. It's a single one. So if it's that kind of program, then you can use the loan.
Okay, thank you very much. So one more question. What is the commitment on our part? What do we commit to Arrows in terms of payment fee? Is it before we begin or as we go, or how's the commitment like?
Okay, I think I answered that earlier. Arrows charges only $500 for everything to support you from the beginning to the end, but you can discuss with the office. They do allow you to pay twice. You have to pay, I think, a down payment, then they start your processing Then at a certain point, you'll be expected to pay the balance. But that's just for arrow service. But any other fee that is charged by the institution, like the application processing fee of the institution, you have to pay to the institution. So
Thank you very much, ma. I appreciate this.
so please, the link has been shared. The link on YouTube has been shared, and I think the one for Facebook also in the chat box, so you can check and you can click on them, so that, because maybe when the meeting is over, you might not be able to access them again. So okay, any other question? Please feel free. If there is any other one, I think I can take one more. You can.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm aspiring for an undergraduate program that is a bachelor program.
Okay.
So I want to know if there's any academic required or a minimum GPA that I need so I can get this loan and admission to that institution.
Okay, I think you came in a little late, because for an undergraduate program, you cannot apply for loan because it is a 3 to 4 year program. You can only use a loan for a 2-year program. So you need to do 2 years first, maybe the last 2 years of your program, that's when you can apply for a loan. But for admission purposes, I think your result is your high school result. As long as, let's say, I can see from your name as a Nigerian, let's say you have a distinction in 3 to your 5 subjects, you have a minimum of B in your 5 subjects, then you are qualified. Some other institutions may accept a few C's, maybe 3 B's for 2 C's, or 3 A's, 2 B's, or 2 C's, depending on what program you want to study. So it's difficult to say exactly what the requirement will be, because I don't have enough information. So the best will be just go to Arrow's website, fill the form, then you'll be able to say everything that you want to say, what program you are interested in, what other options you don't mind, which countries you prefer. It's all there, and then you can put in your high school result as well. Then they will do, the evaluation is free. You don't have to pay anything. So they will do the free evaluation for you, and then you will know whether you are qualified for the course that you are interested in, because that's one of the major issues we have with undergraduate programs. You might not be qualified for the course that you are interested in. So you may have to go for something, maybe an alternative, because if the seats are full, and then let's say after they calculate your GPA, and maybe the course requires you to have minimum of 75%. And when your GPA is calculated, it's about 65%, it means that you can't go in. So you have to go for a lower course. So that's why it's important that you fill the form and then put in your results. Then based on that, they can know which institutions you will be qualified for.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Lastly, these questions, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, please.
The payment will be making the $500 for the application.
Okay.
Once we made that payment, what is the duration for that payment to last?
Until you finish your processing and you go to your study destination.
Okay. Okay. What is in a situation where that person could not get the admission for this season? If they are to apply for another season, do you still have to pay another $500?
No. Usually, the moment you register with that, you are covered for until you have what you need. Except if you are inadmissible, which is usually not going to be the case, because they would have checked your documents before you pay. Yeah, the initial evaluation, they will know whether you will be able to get an offer or not. So if you won't be able to get an offer, they will not ask you to pay.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I think it's been a nice time of discussion. I hope this is beneficial for many of us, and I hope you can go ahead and maybe try with this. I'm sure it's something that you can do. There was a lady who took a $100,000 loan and she paid back within 1 year, a Nigerian girl, and she made a lot of sacrifices to achieve that. So I'm not saying it's going to be possible for everyone to pay back in 1 year. She had a lot of opportunities. She applied for a master's program, and in one of the top universities, she attended Yale, and as soon as she graduated, she got a consulting job, which was paying very well. So, but then she had to also deny herself, sharing apartment, not buying a car, jumping buses for 1 year, but she paid back in 1 year. So if she can do it in 1 year, you can do it in 2 years. You can do it in 3 years, 4 years. So that's a very good.
I will go with this now. Where are the speaker?
Sorry? So that's, I think, I just want to say that to encourage us so that don't deny yourself the opportunity of a lifetime because you are afraid. Life is all about taking risk. So thank you very much. If you don't mind, may I request that we put on our cameras? Let me take a screenshot with all of us. Thank you. Yes, please. I know you have to dress things up. Yeah, so we'll give you that 30 seconds.
I've not been disabled here.
Sorry?
My camera has not been disabled.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you to start your video. Are you able to start now? I've asked you to start your video.
All right.
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. Let's see. Dr. Isa, thank you for joining us. Okay. I'm seeing only a few faces. Okay, thank you for those who... Aros, please go ahead. You can take the screenshot.
Is mine being captured?
Okay. I think it's done. Thank you very much, everyone. So see you in the next webinar. I'm not sure if Aros have a date for the next webinar, or they will pass it on to us. Dr. Maxwell, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome, ma. Sorry for coming slightly late.
It's okay.
I have been having other meetings.
Yeah.
So